Okay, good evening, everyone. Chag Sameach. I wasn't sure if we should have class tonight, and then I asked, and we got 10 people that said they'll come in person. I think one more person must be on their way then. And then we have another 10. There's the 10th person, Baruch Hashem. And then we have 10 people who said they're going to come on Zoom, and it looks like we have, Baruch Hashem, we have a good crowd. So Tiskula Mitzvot coming for a Chag, studying Torah. So Richard, how are you? Let's get started. Mr. Zerubbabeli, Shalom
Shalom,
Aleichem.
Rabbi. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Are you in town?
No, actually away.
Oh,
San
can I ask
Martin.
where you are? Where
We
are
are in
you?
San Martin.
Oh,
We just arrived today.
okay. Tiskula Mitzvot. I think my shiur has gone to all 7 continents because of you.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. All right, so let's get started. Last shiur, we spoke about having to go to the bathroom during tefillah, and we actually spent a lot of time talking about the halachot, and the requirement to prepare oneself, to check, and to go to the bathroom beforehand. And the Rambam really extends that to everything. Like if someone has burps or has to do this or blow their nose or like something, we spoke about how all of these things, the Rambam says, anything that could distract you during your tefillah, take care of beforehand, right? To take care of it beforehand. Now, tonight, we're going to just conclude that topic and then continue with the question of going to the bathroom. But instead of having to go to the bathroom with tefillah, which is what our topic was last time. Remember last time we said, what if you really had to go and you can't hold it in? Did your prayer work? All about tefillah. Next, we move to tefillin. Let's say someone needs to go to the bathroom and he's wearing his tefillin. What is he required to do? And I have a question. We have a lot of people traveling nowadays. What happens if you have your tefillin in the airport and you need to go to the bathroom? Can you take your tefillin with you into the bathroom? What do you guys think?
It's covered twice.
Back, covered twice. Very good. Okay. Actually, incidentally, once I was on a plane coming from Israel back to America, and I was going to stop over in London, and this Chabad guy wearing tight jeans and like a t-shirt, just going around on the plane asking everyone if they're Jewish, tight jeans. And the reason I mentioned that is because when someone says someone said he's Jewish, he's like, did you wear tefillin today? With a British accent. And he said, no. He sticks his hand in the right pocket out of his denim jeans, pulls out a tefillin shel yad, no case, nothing, just pulls out a tefillin shel yad and starts putting them on. And then as soon as he got up there, sticks in the left hand in the left front pocket jean of the denim, pulls out a shel rosh, puts it on him, no case, no bag, no tefillin bag, no nothing, just like ready to go to do the mitzvah. It seems like, like you see the bulging tefillin. So that was, I think, probably the only time in history I've ever seen someone like not like wearing tefillin but having it without the case, like just in their pockets. But yeah, typically we have covers, which is something good everyone said. We're going to speak about it tonight. Let's say there is a cover. Can you take it into the bathroom? Can you take it into the bathroom without taking it off? Let's say someone has to run to the bathroom and they're wearing the tefillin. Can they go in? You know, we all know that we shouldn't, but can you? Does it make a difference if I'm doing number 1? Does it make a difference if I'm not doing number 2? What happens if someone has a lot of gas and is passing a lot of gas? Okay, and let's say, for example, they're not causing a smell. Okay, it's just one thing we spoke about. If it's causing a smell, you can't pray. Okay, but let's say it's not causing a smell. Is it a problem? Do I have to take it off? Do I have to take my tefillin off? Or is it whatever? Like, this is natural. So these are questions that seem, but they're extremely common. They're extremely common, and it's important to know the halachot and the Kedushah of Tefillin. That's what we're going to do tonight. So first, we're going to do a little bit concluding the topic of having to go to the bathroom in tefillah, then transition into tefillin. Okay? Let's go. We'll try to cover as much ground as possible tonight. Let's share screen. Let's go. Okay. V'amar Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonatan Mai Dichtiv. So this, if you're looking in the art scroll, it's on 23A2. It's on the left. It's on the left, the paragraph toward the bottom. You see what I'm talking about? V'amar Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani. Okay, it's on the left, 23A2. It's on Daf Kaf Gimel Amud Aleph. Here we go. V'amar Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonatan. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani says in the name of Rabbi Yonatan, Mai Dichtiv. There is a pasuk, and we're going to take this pasuk and we're going to read it and make a drasha out of it, which means we're not reading it in the simple level, but we're adding a higher level to it. Okay. The first explanation has nothing to do with our topic; it's a tangent. The second explanation has to do with going to the bathroom, and that's why we quote it. Okay. My dichtiv, how do you understand this pasuk that says Shemor raglecha kasher telechel bet Elohim? The pasuk says as follows: watch your feet, guard your feet when you go to the house of God, and prepare to listen. Okay, when you go to the house of God, you should watch your feet. Watch your feet from what? And then it says when you go, you should prepare to listen. It is better than when fools offer sacrifices as they know not to do evil. This pasuk, you know what? Let me actually just bring up the pasuk here because that's the beauty of Svarya, how you could do these cross references. Here's the pasuk: Shemor raglecha kasher telech el bet Elohim. Watch your feet when you are going to the house of God. V'karov l'shmoa, and be eager to listen. Mitet hakisilim zabach, better than fools giving a sacrifice. It's not really, doesn't really flow so easy. Ki enam yodim la'asot ra, because they don't know how to do bad. The fools don't know how to do bad. The pasuk doesn't really. You need to like add some words to understand what it's talking about. Watch your feet when you're going to the house of God, and be eager to listen. It's better than a fool who's bringing a sacrifice because they don't know how to do bad. Let's see. The Gemara is going to explain what this means. Shemor raglecha kasher telech bet Elohim. Guard your feet when you're going to the house of God. Shemor atzmecha shelo techeta. Guard yourself so that you don't sin. So what are you guarding? Not guarding your feet, but you're guarding yourself from not sinning. Ve'im techata, and if you do sin, have korban lefanai, then bring a korban. Like what did the pasuk say? It said, guard your feet when you're going to the house of God. So the way the Gemara is reading it is like, no, guard yourself that you're acting properly, and if you don't, then go to the house of God to bring a sacrifice. V'karov l'shmoa divrei chachamim, and you should be close to listening the words of the chachamim. What does that mean? Amar Rava. Rava explains that to mean, heve karov l'shmoa divrei chachamim. Listen to the way the sages guide us with respect to korbanot. Shim chotim mevi'im korban ve'osim teshuva. If a person sins, right away they do teshuva. The Gemara in Berachot is going to tell us that if you see a righteous person who does something wrong in one point, then in the next day you should assume that they did teshuva. This is what righteous people do. They make mistakes, but then they do teshuva and they bring korbanot. So that's what you should do. Mitet hakesilim zavach, where then it says, better than fools bringing sacrifices. He explains, Al tihika kesilim shechotim u'mevi'in korban ve'enam osim teshuva. Don't be like the fools that will sin and they'll bring a sacrifice, but they won't do teshuva in the process. They're not sincere in bringing the sacrifice. You know what this is like? There are times where you could bring a sacrifice without it being genuine, and that action is a foolish action. If I go and I steal money and I do some sort of a business deal that is improper, and then I go and I give a donation to Kanisa, I give a donation to Bet Knesset. Is that donation a good donation? Really, all that donation does is clears my guilty conscience and enables me to keep doing things wrong. You think God wants that? Oh, you gave a donation. That donation is enabling you and encouraging you to go do more stealing or more unkosher business, right? So this is what it's saying. Is like if you're going to go bring a sacrifice, don't do it in the foolish way. Don't do it in a way when you're not genuine and doing teshuva. Because they don't know how to do bad. Gemara says, what do you mean they don't know how to do bad? You're talking about someone who's sinning, having to bring a sacrifice, and now you're saying they don't know how to do bad? Gemara says, if that's the case, you're talking about righteous people who don't know how to do bad. Ella, this is what it means. Don't be like the fools that sin and bring a korban. I got 10 confirmations coming for this year, and we have more than 10 here. Baruch Hashem. Now I see some of you hold out. Okay, fine. All right. It sounds good. So continuing, the Gemara says, don't be like fools that they will sin and they'll bring a korban. Ve'enam yodim im ala tova he mevi'im, im ala ra'am he mevi'im. They don't even know why they're bringing it. They don't know if they're bringing it because of something good or if something bad. What does that mean? There are some korbanot we bring if a person sins. There are some korbanot a person brings for good occasions. Korban chagiga. It's celebrating a chag, or korban todah. You're thankful. You're coming and you're doing something and you have no idea what you're doing. So what does that mean that they don't know that how to do bad? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Ben tov v'ra einam mavchinim, v'hem mevi'im korban lefanai." They don't know the difference between what's good and bad in this world, and they are going to bring sacrifices for me. Okay, again, this wasn't related. This was a tangent, but essentially what this topic is saying is like what I said. How there are people that will bring sacrifices to the Beit HaMikdash and have no idea why they're doing it. And this pasuk in Kohelet is saying, you think God likes that? When you come and you bring a korban, and if I ask you why you're bringing it, you have no idea. Is it because you did something wrong? I don't know. Is it because something good happened? Like, I have no idea. I'm just doing this. That's a little bit of an exaggerated case of someone that has no idea, but it could be even deeper. Like I said, someone can be doing something and have no clue what they're doing. There's an issue with that. This could get into nice philosophical discussions. Because, I don't know, if I ask you, there's certain mitzvot that if I ask you why you do, you might not know. Why can't you wear shatnez? I don't know. So you think Hashem finds it foolish for you not to do that? Or I don't know if that's the best example, but there are times that we do something just because God said so. And we'll see this actually coming up in our Gemara, Daf Lamed Gimel. We'll see this. There is value in just doing things just because God said so. But here, even if it's when God said so, you should at least know which one of God's commandments you're fulfilling. Am I doing something for positive? Am I doing something for negative? You have no idea. And this really just feeds into that idea that what I was saying is that if you feel that you could do things wrong in your life, and then afterwards you just go and you pay something, and I don't have to know what it is. I just sign a check and I give it to someone. I don't even know who I'm giving it to. I don't even know what they're doing with it, and I don't care what they're doing with it. Then it's not for God, right? It's a way to just make yourself feel from a clear conscience and enable you to continue doing something wrong. And Hashem doesn't accept that, is what this Gemara says. The second interpretation of this pasuk is really why we're quoting it. So I'm going to move on. Rav Ashi quotes it as following. What does it mean, Shemor raglecha? Watch your legs. It's Shemor nekavecha. Guard your openings, which are between your legs. That's what it means when it says guard your legs. It's guard the area that's between your legs. B'sha'a she'ata omed b'tfilah lefanai. When you are coming to pray. But when you're coming to pray, you should guard the area between your legs. In other words, you should check if you need to go to the bathroom beforehand. This is what we spoke about. Anytime you have to pray mincha, really in your mind, you should buffer a 5-minute bathroom break beforehand. You go to the bathroom. I mean, depending on how much time you need, you go to the bathroom, clear out your bladder. If you need a little bit more time, wash your hands, prepare yourself for tefillah. This is what it is. Shemor raglecha, guard your legs. No, guard the area between your legs. In other words, check to see if you have to go to the bathroom before you pray. Okay? Very good. I don't know about you guys, but these past 2 weeks, I've been going to the bathroom a lot. I've just been trying to go. It's just like, if I have even a thought, yeah, Richard, you're nodding. I messed you up. What does that mean? You're just like, yeah. Honestly, I've experienced the same thing also. There's a few times this week, we had a 3-day Yom Tov. A few times right in the middle of like something, I was like, I gotta go. I just left. And then like someone's like, where'd you go? I was like, just the bathroom. It happened a few times. Like, oh, you went to check if this person is coming? I'm like, no, I didn't go check to see if the speaker's coming. I just went to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom. This is what happens when you study halacha about this stuff. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Now we're talking about tefillin. We are now moving on to what happens if a person has to go to the bathroom while he is wearing his tefillin already. We learned in the Berachot. A person is entering a bathroom. Now let me explain how their bathrooms used to be. Very different from our bathrooms. In our bathrooms, we can do something called flush, which is flushing the dirt away. So that, yeah, obviously bathrooms are dirty, but you never have, or you really shouldn't have, like actual excrement in the bathroom. It gets flushed. Yeah, things get dirty, but it gets flushed away. That's opposed to how bathrooms used to be. The Bet HaKiseh, the way the Gemara is the way Rashi explains how it was, is there would be a field, and a person would just go, and they would just find an open spot and just go, and they wouldn't even dig. Like there would be designated areas that this area is a bathroom area. You just go in there and you relieve yourself. And so a person walking into there, first of all, it stinks. It's filthy. There's human excrement all over the place. Just open. Maybe they like fences. Maybe there's like a fence. Like you would have like everyone. You just go to the back. It's like a locker room type of thing, but it would be out in the open field, and you would just let it fertilize the ground or whatever. Like they would. This is how it was. So let's say someone had to go to the bathroom. Okay. Forget about the fact that the person has to. If the person is wearing tefillin, like something's going to come out of them. Putting that aside, you're going to have to walk into this area, a Bet HaKiseh, which is disgusting. Okay, so keep that vision in your mind as we talk about this. Someone is going to enter a bathroom, which is like an open field with excrement in there. Choletz tefilav berechuk arba amot. He must remove his tefillin before, at a distance of 4 amot from the area of the bathroom, v'nichnas, and then enter. Okay? So yeah, as Shelby pointed out, there you could say it's like fenced off. Before you get to the entryway of this bathroom, 4 amot distance, take off your tefillin. How much is 4 amot? 6 feet, correct. It's about 6 feet. So not even closer because it's disgusting. So don't even approach it with your tefillin. Take your tefillin off beforehand. V'nichnas, and then you enter. Amar Rav Acha bar Rav Huna Amar Rav Sheshat lo shanu ela bet hakiseh kavua. But that's only with a regular established bathroom. And when I say established, that means people have gone to the bathroom there before, and there is excrement there. Aval bet hakiseh arai. But a temporary one, what does temporary mean? How do they translate it? They translate it as makeshift, meaning there is no excrement there. No one else has gone there. You're about to create one by finding an open spot, but that area doesn't have any dirt there. Choletz v'nifnei le'altar. Then you should take off your tefillin, but you could go relieve yourself right away. You don't need to have that 4 amot distance. So if there is already, if it's like a yard with a bunch of dirt there or excrement there, then you need to take your tefillin before you approach it from 6 feet, take it off, then go in. But if you're about to go to the bathroom, but the place that you're going doesn't have anything there, like you're going to be the first one, you're going to, what's the word? When you're breaking something in, you're going to mark your territory. You're going to inaugurate this as the newest bathroom on planet Earth. If that's what's going to happen, then you don't need to have a distance of 4 amot, because when you're taking off your tefillin, there's no smell, there's nothing bad here, right? So that's the distinction.
I don't understand. You take off the tefillin in the new one, right?
Yeah.
At what point when you take it off before entering this area,
and then just go.
But you go right next to your tefillin, or
you could just take you go next to your tefillin. That's exactly very good.
Not even a mile away.
The tefillin is with you. At this point, we're saying take it off and go to the bathroom. So it sounds like the issue is not the proximity of the tefillin to the bathroom. It's the issue is the proximity of you wearing tefillin to the bathroom. So as long as you take off your tefillin, it's fine. That's exactly, you're picking up on the right thing. Because what did it say? It said take it off, then go to the bathroom. Now Nick is saying, but the tefillin is there. Yeah. So very good keen observation there, that we're seeing how there's no issue of having the tefillin being with you at that time. The issue is with you wearing it. Yeah, exactly. We're going to get into the question that I started off with, of if I have to go to the bathroom at an airport, am I allowed to take my tefillin in with me? Obviously not wearing it, but even taking it inside of a bag or like inside your jean pockets, right? That's what we're going to talk about. They're very good, but that's a very good distinction that you brought up. But you see what happened is, he said that you're not allowed to wear your tefillin for amot within the excrement. So in this case, there was no excrement there. So he says, just take it off. Rav Shisha says, take it off and then just relieve yourself. But now you want to put it back on. So what should you do? You should walk 4 amot distance. That's exactly it. But when you leave this spot that you just marked your territory, you should walk away a distance of 4 amot. Because you have just rendered it a regular bathroom. You have made this an established bathroom. Before you went in, it was a makeshift bathroom, which means it was not yet a bathroom. You walked in and it was a field, and you walked out and it's a bathroom. And so since you did that, you need to walk 4 amot away. Okay? Now, everything we're talking about is number 2. What about number 1? It's an important question. I have a question. Can a person go into an established bathroom to pee, to urinate? He's not going to sit. He's going to stand. Or maybe he's going to sit, but he's only going to do number 1. So Ravina Shareh. Ravina says that's fine. That's okay. That's acceptable. Ravina tells us something pretty amazing. A person can walk into a bathroom wearing tefillin, an established bathroom that has feces everywhere. He's allowed to enter with tefillin and pee, which sounds like a big deal. Go into the bathroom and pee.
That contradicts what we just said.
Okay, very good. So they almost doesn't flow, because in the previous one it said you have to take it off 4 amot before you go there. But now what we're seeing is like, but maybe that's because of what you intend to do there, and that is to relieve yourself. So we're now like having to figure out like what exactly is the issue. What is the issue? Because Ravina says it's okay. Ravada bar matna asar, but Ravada says no, you cannot go into a bathroom even to urinate with your tefillin on. So we need to figure this out, because we had a Braita that told us, the Braita told us that if a person has to go to the bathroom to relieve himself, number 2, then if it's an established bathroom, he needs to take the tefillin off at least 4 amot before, and then go to the bathroom, and then walk 4 amot afterwards, and then put it back on. Then we asked the question of, okay, but what if it's number 1 that he wants to do? He has to urinate. So machloket. One opinion says you can go in and urinate with your tefillin on. The other one says no, you're not allowed to. Fine. Atu shailua le Rava. They came and they asked Rava, what are you allowed to do? Are you allowed to or not? Amar lahu. Rava says to them, asur. You're not allowed to walk into the bathroom with your tefillin on to urinate. But listen to why. Chayshinan shema yipane bahen. Because we're worried that you might come to defecate. And what happens is that once a person goes to the bathroom, let's imagine he's sitting down, you never know. He started thinking he has number 1, then all of a sudden, okay, I could do number 2 also. And so his issue is not that you're urinating with your tefillin on. Rava says you're not allowed to urinate with your tefillin on, but not because it's a problem. Because he's concerned that you might come to defecate with your tefillin on. And some give another reason. Shema yafiach behen. Maybe during urinating, he'll pass gas, which is also common. Sometimes the person is at a urinal who is just urinating. He's not intending to defecate, and he passes some gas. It's natural. Once he's moving his bowels or relieving himself, they'll pass gas, that's the problem. So again, it's so interesting, because you have a machloket as to whether a person can enter a bathroom to urinate with his tefillin on, and you have one that says yes, one says no, and then they asked Rava, and Rava said, no, because I'm worried you're going to come to defecate or pass gas with it on. Which means, in theory, urinating itself is not a problem with your tefillin on. Crazy, no? I think it's crazy.
In a bathroom that already has...
In a bathroom that's dirty. Wow, it's a big deal. Yeah, so...
You're just walking there.
Sorry?
You're walking there wearing it. Now you can walk in there wearing it.
You couldn't walk into exactly. You couldn't walk into there before. You couldn't even walk within 6 feet of it before, because you intended to relieve yourself. You intended to do number 2. But now, but if you're intending to do number one,
And it wasn't used before.
and it wasn't, and
right?
even if it was used before, even if it were used before, you would be allowed to walk in to urinate, according to one opinion, and Rava and the other opinion say, no, you're not allowed to do that. But the reason is because we're worried you're going to come to defecate, which is showing you that in theory, urinating itself alone with tefillin on is not a problem. Okay? Okay, guys, don't start. I see you're about to go wear your tefillin right now because you want to go do this. Like, relax. Okay, we don't have to go do this right now, but we're learning the Gemara. Yes, Tomer.
The final say.
He's the later one. He's not the final say.
It's not over.
It's not, we're not over yet. It's not over yet. We're bringing the different opinions. There was a machloket between Ravina and Ravada. Then at that point, the Rosh Yeshiva was Rava. They asked him, and he said, "Don't do it." But yeah, we're just adding data points right now. I mean, data points. We're adding different opinions of different chachamim. Yes.
What about Rav Sheshet's opinion where it says that even after the fact you cannot be within 4 amot of the bathroom you use?
Yeah.
Put it on, because then there's no intent to do
So
anything.
how does right? So how does that work? How does that work? And it sounds like there's an issue with you wearing tefillin in the proximity of feces, whereas this view is saying you're allowed to walk in. Very interesting questions.
Maybe there's a leniency if someone had to pee. It's like a mitzvah to not keep it in, maybe you can say.
Okay.
So they give it.
So you're saying just like take it. Okay, so there's 3 factors that I want to bring into this to help us understand this context. Okay, number one that you have to be clear on. Fact number 1: they used to wear tefillin from morning to night. Okay, for us we don't. So some of us wear tefillin for 45 minutes in the morning. Some people for 5 minutes in the morning. Some people, whatever it is, sometimes an hour. But they used to wear it from sunrise to sunset. They wear tefillin all day long. So that's context number 1 to keep in mind. Because, like for us, it's like, why are you going into the bathroom with your tefillin? Just take it off. We take it off anyway. But they wouldn't take it off. And there's a yeshiva in Yerushalayim, they never take the tefillin off. They leave their tefillin on all day. And they do that on purpose. Taking it off is not something that they want to do. So there is one perspective here of, keep in mind, we don't want to take it off. Okay, so we don't want to take it off if we don't have to. So in a situation that technically while urinating, I'm allowed to wear it, I want to do it. Okay, that's one fact to keep in mind. Number 2, Nikki is bringing up a good point of, we have just learned how important it is to go to the bathroom, right? Let's say you're in the middle of minyan, and they're about to start the Amidah, and you're in the middle of Shema Yisrael, and you're about to start the Amidah, and you're like, I need to go. So if I start, take it off, then go to the bathroom, then come back, then put it back on, I'm going to miss minyan, I'm going to miss everything. But if I just step out, go pee, and come back, I could even catch the Amidah. The peeing takes me 15, 20 seconds. The taking off the tefillin and putting it back on, that's going to take me longer. So there's like what you said, how the guy doesn't want, we want to help encourage them to actually go to the bathroom, because otherwise maybe the person's going to say, I don't want to miss it. So that's fact number 2. Fact number 3, I had one. What was it? Went to the bathroom.
Your intention maybe of going to the bath. What?
Well, hold on. It's not coming to me. Oh. No, I don't know. It'll come to me. So, okay, so this is a good context. They would wear tefillin all day long. What were we answering? What were we talking about? We're talking about like why
Why they can wear it nearby, but someone else says they can't wear it
right.
at all near a used bathroom, even though they're not actually going to the bathroom.
Yeah, there was one more important context. It'll come to me. Okay, so here we are. What the discussion we're having so far is, we had a whole Braita. Braita tells us that going to the bathroom with your tefillin on is a problem, and even entering 6 feet radius of the bathroom with your tefillin on is a problem. So you got to take it off to relieve yourself. Then we had discussions of Amoraim, Ibayalahu. They asked, what about urinating? And when they spoke about that, one opinion said it's okay, one opinion said it's not okay, and Rava said it's not okay, but it really is okay. It's just that we don't want you to now all of a sudden relieve yourself. And like you could think about the implications. What about imagine they're always sitting? Does anyone ever go to a urinal and all of a sudden relieve himself? No, because you're standing. You're not going to relieve yourself. The second reason it might passing gas, that's possible. But it's important to understand what the reasons are. I will say, I can't remember. Whatever. The other thing that I wanted to mention is our bathrooms nowadays are completely different. So just bear in mind, any halachot that we speak about today, and we're not done yet, the discussion's not over, there's a whole other layer to consider with our bathroom. So hopefully we'll get into some of the halachot. Okay, let's keep going. Any questions? Okay, let's keep going. Tanya Idach, we have another braita. Let's see what this other braita. Oh, okay, now I got it. This is the other thing I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say, which is important for the next flow, is that this is very important. Their bathrooms were in public. It wasn't in private. It was in public, which means, where are you going to put this tefillin? It's a very critical question. You're telling me that I have to take off my tefillin. You're telling me, leave it away from me. Where are you going to put it? You're in public. So there might be some options, but every option has some negative side to it. One option is to leave it on the side somewhere in the bathroom, but it's filthy. It's filthy. And do you know what happens in a place where there's a bunch of feces? You have a bunch of rats running around. It's like the subways. It's like disgusting. Imagine I told you, take your tefillin, put it on the floor of the subway platform, go pee, and then come back. It's disgusting. We're talking about somewhere in a public area. It's not a clean area. So that's one option. What else might happen? So you might say, no, leave it even further away from the bathroom so it's clean. Okay, but someone could steal it. Okay, what else should you do? What other options are there? You're leaving it close by, it's dirty. Leaving it further by, it might get stolen. What's the other option? Putting it in your pocket, bringing it with you. Okay, but you know what the risk is of putting tefillin? Let's say I told you hold on to your tefillin and go to the bathroom. What's the risk? It's going to drop. Where is it safer? Is it safer if it's on me or if it's in my hands while I have to pee? Of course on you is safer. So there's pros and cons here that we have to consider the options. You know what would be the best? If you could take your tefillin off, wrap it, leave it on a table safe in a secure place, go, and then come back afterwards, which is what we do nowadays. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about someone's going in the middle of the field. He has nowhere safe to leave it. Either it's filthy, or it might get stolen, or he might drop it, which the alternative of wearing it is very important. A person has to go urinate. You might say, look, technically you're allowed to do it with your tefillin on, so go do it with your tefillin on. You know why? Because if I tell you to take it off, you might drop it on the floor while you're urinating. Is that better? Or you might leave it on the side and some rodent is going to come and start putting mouse droppings on it. Or it's going to get stolen. So there's other considerations at play here. And you're going to see all of that going on in the flow of the Gemara now. I mean, there's like pros and cons and like which one is better. We don't really know. So that's why we have to understand, not the question of like, do I really want to do that? No, of course no one actually wants to urinate with the tefillin on. But there's pros and cons. The three ideas are, number one, what Nick said, is that you want to encourage someone who actually has to go to the bathroom to go do it quickly and not to be afraid from doing it and hold back from doing it, but also not to turn them away from tefillah. You want them to, number one, make sure that everything, number two, to make sure everything is safe, secure. And what was the, now I forgot the other one that I said. What was the third point? What? Yeah, then you have to weigh out the alternatives. Okay, with that, let's see the Gemara. Let's go. Tanya Eidach, we have another braita that gets us thinking about this. Hanichnas lebet hakiseh kavua. If a person is entering into an established bathroom, choletz tefillah berichuk 4 amot, take off your tefillin at a distance of 4 amot. So far, it's the same as the previous braita, but this braita adds something for us. Umanichan bachalon, place them in the cubby on the ledge, hasamuch lereshut harabim, that is facing outward toward the public road, v'nichnas, and then enter the bathroom. What does this mean? You know what I'm thinking about? The bathroom was like, there was fenced off area. You go inside, it's disgusting. And on the outside is public. I don't know, sometimes like you go to these like public bathrooms at a like a campsite, or like you go to the beach, like Jones Beach or something like that. Like there's this one, you go into a room, on the outside there's a million people, there's a boardwalk, but on the inside it's filthy. The place stinks and it's disgusting, right? So that's what it is. So the guy has to go in, he wants to go inside. What this Braita tells us is, take your tefillin off and leave them on the wall facing outside of the bathroom. Find some crack, some nook, and leave your tefillin in the wall facing outwards. Venichnas, and then go inside. Ukshu yotzeh, and when you're leaving the bathroom, marchik arba amot, take your tefillin, distance yourself 4 amot from the wall of the bathroom, umanichan, and place them back on. Divrei Bet Shammai. This is the opinion of Bet Shammai. It's a machloket. Bet Hillel, Bet Hillel says, I don't want you to leave it outside in the middle of the street. Bet Hillel says, Ochazan beyado venichnas. Take it off. Yes, take it off. Hold on to it in your hand and go inside the bathroom. And what does that mean? You squat like this. You're holding your tefillin and you relieve yourself, go to the bathroom, then you get up and go. You're holding the tefillin the whole time. Or actually, I think I saw, maybe, biado, sorry. Biado is singular. Hold it in your right hand. Hold it in one of your hands. The person has to clean himself with his left hand. You clean himself with his left hand. Hold the tefillin in the right hand. And then when you're done, you go in, you're holding on to it. And when you're done, you just get up and go. Rabbi Akiva says, I don't like what Bet Shammai says about leaving it outside, but I don't like what Bet Hillel says about holding it into your hand, because now you have exposed tefillin. Ochazan bevigdo v'nichnas. Hold onto them in your clothing. So what does that mean? Take your tefillin, put it over here, like under your shirt. Take your tefillin right over here and walk in with your tefillin under your shirt. That's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Bevigdo salkadaitach. So first is trying to envision, like, what does that mean? You just take it and like put it on your clothes?
They're not talking about like a pocket.
I'm not talking about a pocket. It's like you just like leave it in. It's gonna fall off. That's not safe. So zimnin mishtaleluhu v'nafle. The Gemara says you just put it on your clothes. It's gonna fall off. It's gonna roll off. Ela. So rather, this is what Rabbi Akiva wants you to do. Ochazan bevigdo uveyado v'nichnas. He wants you to hold on to it, but he wants you to hold on to it under your clothing. So, like Bet Hillel, he doesn't want you to leave it outside on the public streets. He wants you to take it in to have it safe, so it's safe, but he doesn't want it to be exposed. So he says, take it, put it under your clothing, so now you have it in your hand, in your clothing. That's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, which you tell me, is that more strict or is that more lenient? He's letting you bring it into the bathroom, so it's more lenient, but he's requiring you to bring it into your bathroom. So it's more strict. He's not letting you leave it outside, right? So again, pros and cons. This is what we're going to be weighing out. Like, what are the alternatives? Now, what happens if you can't put it in your hand? Let's say you can't, your hands are going, you're going to need your hands. Let's say you will not be able to hold it. Let's say you have gigantic tefillin and it won't be able to fit in your hands. So Rabbi Akiva will tell us, but if you have to leave it in the wall, if you're unable to hold it, then leave it by the wall, but don't leave it by the wall facing outwards of the public. Leave it in a crack of the wall on the inside of the bathroom. So put it on the inside of the bathroom on the wall. Okay? And do not leave them in the cracks of the wall on the outside facing the public, Shema yitlu otam ovrei derachim, because someone who's passing by is going to steal it. And that will be a very it'll bring you to a suspicious activity. It'll be suspicious. And what is suspicious? And the Gemara is going to explain to us in a moment what happened. But before we go into the detail of it being suspicious, we see now there's 4 options of what to do with your tefillin. Okay? 4 options. Beit Shammai says, leave it in a hole on the wall. By the way, which wall has holes in it? Our walls are smooth, they're bricks. You could imagine the way they had bricks. there was some uneven, and you would have to just like find some sort of a brick and balance it right there on the brick on the outside. Beit Shammai says, if that room is the bathroom, you guys are envisioning what I'm envisioning? Like you have like one of these like public bathrooms where there's like a road on it, like you go to Sesame Place or Six Flags or something, or probably even like, but like an outdoor thing. There's a wall outside. You leave your tefillin outside the bathroom and go inside. Go take care of whatever you have to, then come outside. That's what Beit Shammai says. Beit Hillel says, hold on a second, I'll come to you. Beit Hillel says, no, take it with you. Hold on to it in your hand into the bathroom. You're never going to see it again. It's going to get stolen. You got to take it in with you. Rabbi Akiva says, yeah, but it's exposed. So take it in with you in your hand, under your clothing, in your clothing to cover it. But let's say that's not an option. Let's say your clothing is not an option for whatever it is. Let's say you can't hold it for whatever it is. Let's say you can't, your hand isn't able to handle it. Maybe you need your hands to clean yourself. Maybe you're holding on to something else. So in that situation, he says, fine, if you have to leave it on the wall, leave it on the wall, but leave it on the wall on the inside of the wall. Find a brick to balance it on inside, not outside. Why? Because inside you could keep your eye on it. You could leave it right there. Like sometimes I have to go to the bathroom in the airport and I have my carry-on. So what do you do with it? You have this dilemma. Leave it outside the bathroom and go inside the bathroom? No way. The airport's gonna get shut down. You're going to think there's a bomb scare. So what do? You take it in with you. Now, what do? Do you take it with you in the stall? Yeah, you take it in with you with the stall. Otherwise, someone's going to steal it. But if let's say you're going by urinal, maybe you could leave it there on the side where you like keep an eye on it. You don't actually have it with you in that second. It could be a little bit far from you as long as you can keep an eye on it. And that's what Rabbi Akiva is saying. If you're going to bring it leave it on the inside, put it on the counter, but on the inside, so that you could keep an eye on it. And then it won't get stolen. And he says, because if it does get stolen, all of a sudden people are going to assume you're doing things that are wrong. Why? We're going to see. There was a story where someone's tefillin got stolen and it turned out to be very bad. We're going to discuss it right now. Yeah.
Offering a solution that you hold in your hands, wouldn't it be smart to tie it on your body in a way where it doesn't count as you wearing?
Okay, very good. So Richard, is how would you do that though? You're saying like, okay, fine. So you're saying like you do it in a way where you take the box off of your body. What about the arm? Oh, you're saying like put it over here, like put your cap on backwards like this. I go like that. I don't know what.
Wrap it around your waist.
Yeah, or like wrap it around. Okay, very good. So these are interesting ideas. You're saying, so wear it in a way that you're not like wearing it properly, but it seems like that suggestion is not offered. Very interesting. I don't know why it's not offered. Yeah, you have
Rabbi.
Yeah. Sorry, Tomer, then you go. Go ahead, Tomer.
Nowadays, there's cases that, you're putting in 3 leather cases in a box and everything. Wouldn't that like make it okay to bring it into the bathroom?
Right. So we're gonna get into the discussion of covering. Right now, we're talking about like my friend on the airplane that stuck it right into his jean pocket, like his like little key pocket. He stuck. I don't know how he did it. It was a Chabad, like something. He had some siyata d'ishmaya. His pockets, like they just kept going. But we're talking about someone that has it exposed. It's a good point. Again, keep in mind they used to wear tefillin all day long. They would be working on the field. There would be a farmer. A farmer would be wearing his tefillin. Imagine if you at the office. And let's say you went to the office and you left your tefillin in the corner, your case. But yes, we're going to talk about the cases and the bags in a second. Yes, Igal, question?
Did they give us a source for why we have to do all of this?
No, it's an excellent question. What's the issue or what's the source? We haven't got, no. We have not seen that. Why do you ask?
I'm just curious, like, why they're making this such a big fuss. If there's no Torah prohibition against this, then what are we trying to achieve? Why are we making it so complicated?
Okay, very good. Igal's asking really a very strong question of like, what's the source behind this? What's the source? Is it the Raita? Is it the Rabbanan? Like, where right now we have all of these opinions. One opinion says you could urinate with it on. The other one says you can't even come into the bathroom 6 feet distance. It's like, well, where are you guys making this up from? Right? What's the source? Excellent question, Igal. Very good. I don't have an answer for you. Very good question, though. And really, you should be thinking this way of asking, what is your source? Excellent question. I'm sure there is a source. You have to look into it. Very good. What happened with the screen? It's gone. Okay, it's back. Anyone else had a question? Okay, let's see the story. The story doesn't say the detail. Let's see what the details is, and I'll tell you how I read it and how I think what happened. Here we go. Share screen. Once it happened. Once there was a student. He had to go to the bathroom, and he left his tefillin in the holes of the wall, facing public, facing outwards. Ubat zona achat, and one prostitute came, unitalatan, and she found these tefillin. She said, cool, I'll take these. She took the tefillin that this poor yeshiva guy went to relieve himself. He had too much cholent the night before. He had to go to the bathroom. He leaves his tefillin there. A prostitute comes, grabs the tefillin, steals it. Ubat lebet hamidrash. She goes to his yeshiva, goes to his bet midrash ve'amra, and she says, Ra'u ma natani ploni bischari. Look, this student, he hired me for services, and look how he paid me. He paid me with his tefillin to be a prostitute for him. Kevan sheshama oto tamid kach. When the student heard this, when all of a sudden they said, "Hey, your friend is here. Your friend brought your tefillin to show us off." He heard what happened. Allah lerosh agag. He went to the roof of the yeshiva, v'nafal v'amet, and he killed himself. He committed suicide. It was humiliating, and it destroyed his reputation, fabricated something, and the guy was driven to suicide. At that time, as a result of this story, they said, you cannot leave your tefillin for people to steal. You can't. It's too irresponsible. Look what happened. Someone went and they got killed. And they're committing suicide. I think I'm trying to figure out like what exactly happened in this story. A prostitute takes tefillin, goes into the yeshiva and says, look what happened. And then everyone believes him and everyone laughs and the guy goes kills himself. I think what really, there's probably some details missing here of maybe this woman blackmailed him and said, you got to pay me. And if you don't pay me, then I'm going to go smear your name. And the guy couldn't pay. And then like that could be a situation. And by the way, that happens. Shalom and Dah. There are people that go and they go into certain places and they get themselves in certain trouble and they're trapped. And when they're trapped, this person says, either you pay me this much or I'm going to make it public. I have the videos. And then what do? And then a person could get driven to a point where their reputation is destroyed. Imagine you get caught on camera doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and someone has access to that video and says, you pay me $1 million or I'm going to release this. What are you going to do? Either you find the money, or if not, you'll be humiliated in front of who said maybe he had a wife, maybe he had kids. And maybe there's no indication that he did anything wrong. There's no indication that he did anything wrong. Now, if it were me and my tefillin got stolen, I don't know. I would just say like, she stole my tefillin. By the way, it's happened to me before. You don't know how sad I was. It was a Friday afternoon. I was on the LIRR. I left my tefillin in my backpack. I had my tefillin with me because I went to Minyan in the morning, took it with me that day. I always on Fridays take it back home with me because Sundays I would go to a different Minyan. So I didn't want to leave it there. My weekday Minyan and my Sunday Minyan was different. So Friday afternoon, I take my tefillin home. I was Friday afternoon. It was one of those short Shabbats. I was working on my laptop on the train. Got to Great Neck. All of a sudden, I look up. I close my laptop. I grabbed my laptop bag, which was different from my backpack, and I left my backpack on the train. And that's it. I lost my bar mitzvah tefillin, and I was very sad. I went to the Penn Station, lost and found. Maybe about for the next 6 months. I went every day. It's like, who wants my tefillin? Why would you want my tefillin? If someone finds it, just bring it back. And I never did. I probably had some money in my bag. I probably had some valuable stuff. But why didn't they just give my tefillin back? It was gone forever, right? So you might say, who wants tefillin? I don't know, but it happens. And now, thank God, no one framed me for doing anything with this tefillin. But this situation, I believe that there were more details that the Gemara is not sharing. because like it seems like there's some dots that need to be connected. But whatever happened from there, they learned that look, you can't leave yourself in this vulnerable position of leaving your tefillin out on the streets. Someone can take it. Either they could use it to ruin you, to hurt you, to blackmail you, to make money off of it, whatever it is. So Chachamim at that point established after this incident, we're making a new takana. From now on, if you have to go to a public bathroom, you take your tefillin in with you. Okay? Very good. Very interesting. But that was as a result of this discussion. Okay, let's keep going.
Different practices in Israel, how they did this, and then because
But yeah,
with
this is
Jews
Talmud.
around everywhere, you know what I mean? In these bathrooms, I was a little surprised as we were going through things in this field where people work every day. Everyone has a tefillin on. Probably people are gonna have to use that bathroom. Why don't they have like cubbies installed in these walls?
So that these cubbies are what we're talking about. That they had these. I'm calling them cracks in the walls, but there are these compartments to put it in. There are compartments on the inside, compartments on the outside. One opinion says put it on the outside because it's cleaner and you don't have rodents coming around. It's not disgusting. The other one says no, put it on the inside so you can keep an eye on it. The other one is saying you got to take it in with you. You can't leave your suitcase or anything on the side. You can't. It's not about like I said how if you leave your unattended suitcase in the airport, they're gonna come and confiscate it. But beside that, if you leave your suitcase outside of the bathroom and go inside, who says you're gonna get it back? So this is what happened. Someone stole it. It was a very bad story. It drove a person to killing himself because he was humiliated beyond belief. And because of that, they said, take it in with you. Okay? Ten Rabbanan. Braita is going to try to start putting some of these pieces of all of these different Braitot, putting them together. Initially, what they said was, what they would do, like what you're saying, Nick, is they established cubbies and holes on the inner wall of the bathroom, and that's where everyone would put it, their tefillin, on the inner wall. Then what would happen is, there were rats that were running around in these bathrooms because it was filthy, and the rats would come, grab the tefillin, and run away with him. You can't control you can't ask the rat, what do you want with my tefillin? You left it exposed, you went to the bathroom, the guy is, he's in the bathroom for 10 minutes, he comes back and he sees it's gone, and they see it's in the middle of the feces there with a rat that's pulling on it, nibbling away at it. So they said, okay, we can't leave it on the inside. So they said, leave it on the outer walls. But then what happened? Then the people started stealing them because they were open to the public eye. So they established that it should be in the person's hand, and a person should take it with their hand into the bathroom. Again, we're talking about in public areas where you don't have an option of leaving it somewhere safe. Yes?
Right? Saying they made like a whole takana that you should just carry it in.
Yes.
And these are all Tanaim saying this. So then why are all these Amoraim before arguing about, you can't bring it in, you should take it off and leave it out? Like they said before that you have to take it in.
Yeah, okay, excellent question. Yeah, so how do you have Beit Shammai saying you should leave it? Oh, no. You're saying the Amoraim. The Amoraim are talking specifically about urinating. And there might be a distinction between one who intends to urinate and one who intends to defecate. That might be the distinction. That if the whole thing is like, should you take it in? And that actually fits. The question is, if the person wants to urinate, should he take it in or not? So once you conclude that by defecating you should, maybe for urinating you shouldn't because you could be quicker. Maybe you could leave it on the inner wall and a rat won't get to it because you could finish in 10-15 seconds. Maybe there should be more of a reason to take it off if you're only urinating. Maybe there should be more of a reason to take it in because you don't intend to defecate. So the answer of your question is that the Amoraim are not talking about defecating, they're talking about urinating, and there's some sort of a difference, which is why some would say that it would be allowed to go in with it, even to urinate with it on. There was another question? No? Let's keep going. Amar Rabbi Miyasha. Bere Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Halacha. Here is the law. Golelan kemin sefer. You should wrap your tefillin. This is the first time anyone is talking about wrapping. Up until now, they've just been talking about holding. But Rabbi Miyasha is telling us the halacha. Here's the practice. Wrap it. Ve'ochazan bimino keneged libo. Hold it in your right hand against your heart. Keep it safe. Don't hold it. Don't try to palm it like a basketball, like this, and like don't start spinning it. Hold it in your right hand and give it extra support by holding it against your heart. And by doing that, you also won't forget. You'll be less likely to drop it, right? Because holding it in your hand, you might drop it. So you have less likely to drop it. Amar Rav Yosef Bar Minyomi Amar Rav Nachman. However, there is a qualification. This works as long as the straps aren't exposed, one tefach. If the straps are exposed, it's a problem because the straps themselves have some Kedushah as well. Rashi says that with the straps, you have the names of Hashem. You have the letter Shin. Let's see. You have the Shin on the box, you have a Dalet on the back, and you have a Yud on the Shadiyad on the tip over here.
You're saying the strings form those ways.
Yes. Now you were pointing to this. Also, some people put the Shin, they make the shape of the Shin here. But this is what Rashi says, how there's some form of Kedushah to the Tefillin straps as well. And so because of that, this opinion, Rav Yosef says that yes, you take it off, put it in your hand, hold it against you, but if the straps are coming down, it's a problem. Make sure that the straps are not falling. Okay? Let's keep going. Amar Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, Amar Rabbi Zera. I want to make sure we could finish the Tefillin topic tonight. Amar Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, Amar Rabbi Zera. Lo shanu ela sheyesh shahut bayom elavshan. That's only if, now, who asked about the bag? You asked about the bag? You asked about the bag? You asked about the bag. Tomer asked about the leather bag. So this now is talking about the bag. This whole discussion about holding it in your hand is only if there's still time in the day to put it back on. Remember what I said. They used to wear tefillin all day. So this, let's say it happened 2 PM, you're going to put it back on afterwards. But what happens if it's the end of the day? You're taking it off, you're not putting it back on. So what should you do? Oseh lahem kemin kis tefach umanichan. A person should create a bag. And now you see, the source of a tefillin bag is right here. And the tefillin bag should have the size of a tefach. How much is a tefach? Yeah, it's about 8 centimeters, about that big. Which means, imagine you have some people that they have tefillin that are tiny. I've seen it before. You have tefillin that are this big. Maybe you can make some sort of a bag that doesn't have the opening of a tefach, but a tefillin bag, if you're ever in the business of constructing tefillin bags, you should put at least a tefach in there. Why? Here's why. Because there are halachot, and we're going to see this right now. Actually, let me just see the next line. No. Okay, let me explain. Yes, very good. Very good. So there's a law that if Adam ki yamut be'ohel, when a person dies inside of a room, an ohel, anything that's in that room becomes impure. If someone passes away and there is a corpse in a room, everything under that same roof now has the status of the tumah of a tumah tamet, the tumah of a dead person. However, if within this room there is another compartment, as long as that compartment has chalal tefach, has the opening height of a tefach, then whatever is in there does not get the tumah because it's its own unit, it's its own area. So now you see what happens is if, let's say, for example, there's a room, and in the room there's a person who died, the whole room becomes tameh. But if within that room there is a small box, a small compartment, and that box, that closet, it's a closet, has the halal tefach, then what's in there does not become tameh. So using those laws about Tumah and Tahara, what you realize is that as long as something has a space of a tefach, it's viewed as a separate entity, and now it's telling us that if a person wants to make a tefillin bag, they should create something with at least a halal tefach, so this thing will have its own domain. So even in the event that this had to go into the bathroom, it's distinct, it's separate, it's not in the bathroom, quote unquote, because it's its own separate entity. Let me read a few more lines, because there's a few more things that I want to get to. So, what happens? You see, now this goes back to Nick, what I was saying before, that typically in the middle of the day, they would not put their tefillin away. If someone had to go to the bathroom, you would take it off and put it back on right away. They weren't wrapping it up, putting it in the case. And that's what this is introducing to us, that if it's the end of the day, and after sunset, you no longer could wear it, so now you should put it away. Don't go to the bathroom holding your tefillin. Put it in a bag, which wrapping it up, putting it in a bag of a tefach, that's something that a person would do if it's the end of the day and they're not going to put it back on. But if they're going to put it back on, you shouldn't do that. Okay? Amar Rabba Bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Bayom, if it's in the middle of the day, Golalan kemin sefer, wrap up the tefillin. Umanichan biyado keneged libo, put it in your hand, on your heart, and go to the bathroom. Uvalayla, but in the evening, oselahem kemin kis tefach umanichan. Create a bag for them that has a pouch that has at least the size of a tefach, and put it in there. Amar Abaye says, Lo shanu ela bechli shu kilyan. You know why you need to have a tefach? You need to have a tefach if the bag, the pouch that you're putting it in, is designated for tefillin. Because if it's designated for tefillin, you need to have at least a tefach to show that this is something different. But if it's not designated for tefillin, which means you found yourself some wallet or a clutch, a lady's clutch, for example, that's less than a tefach, but this wasn't designated for tefillin. Aval bekli she'eno kilyan, but a vessel that's not regularly used for tefillin, afilu pachot mi tefach. Even if it's less than a tefach, it's going to be its own distinct entity. Amar Mar Zutra v'tim Ravashi. Mar Zutra says, I have a proof for you. Teda. Here's the proof. In that example that we gave about a corpse that was in a room, that everything in the room becomes impure, unless there's some sort of a closet or something that has the size of a tefach, and then things that are within there are immune. Teda, he says, there's something else that's immune. Sharei pakim, kitanim, matzilin be'ohel hamet. If you have a small jar, let's say, for example, those small honey jars, they have like these little things, a can, or like little ketchup bottles. Those ketchup bottles are not a tefach. They're much smaller. Small containers that are sealed, they don't become tameh, even though they don't have the amount of a tefach. So we're learning here something important, that any container works, but for tefillin specifically, if the bag, if the wrapper, the pouch was made specifically for the tefillin, then they become insignificant. They become batel. They become useless, unless you have a halal tefach. Okay? Let's just keep going. I'm going to do a good summary. Amar Rabba Bar Nachmani. Okay, now Rabba Bar Nachmani is talking about the times when he was a student. And he says, Ki hava azinan batre de Rabbi Yochanan. There were times that we would be with our rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan, and he needed to use the bathroom. So what happens if he needed to use the bathroom and he had his tefillin or he had his books with him? What would he do? Ki hava ba'el min ala betek. He said when he had to go to the bathroom, Ki hava nakit sifra da'agarta. If he had any books with him, let's say he was holding a Gemara, let's say he was holding a Mishnah, let's say he was holding something, hava yahiv lan, he would ask us to hold it. He would say, please hold on to it, and then he would go into the bathroom. I think I recently did this 2 weeks ago. Josh, was it you? I had to go to the bathroom in Or Esther. I gave my book to someone outside of the bathroom. I said, you're here? He said, yeah. And he just held it for a second. I went to the bathroom. I came out, and my book was still there. I forgot who it was. But yeah, so this is what Rabbi Yochanan would do. With his students, he had to go to the bathroom. He would say, hold on to this, go into the bathroom. He'd come back out, he'd get his book from his students. But what happens when he was wearing his tefillin? Lo hava yehevlan. The students say he wouldn't give it to us. Amar, he would say, Ho'el ushranhu Rabbanan, since the rabbis permitted us to take tefillin in, ninteran, I want to take it in with me. Because guess what? The tefillin will protect me. It seems like going to the bathroom could have been dangerous because now people are exposed and they're vulnerable, and maybe someone comes to them and says, give me your money when they're in the bathroom. So what he says, what Rabbi Yochanan says is, look, the rabbi said you're allowed to take it in with you, so I'm going to take it in with me, and I want to hold on to it because my tefillin will help protect me. Okay? Amar Rava. Rava says a very similar account about a different story. By the way, we turn to 23b. Ki hava azlinan batred Rav Nachman. When we were students, we were following Rav Nachman. Ki hava nakit sifra de garata. If he was holding on to a book of agarata, meaning like a Gemara of some sort, yahivlan, he would give it to us and then go use the bathroom. He wouldn't take it in with him. Ki hava nakit tefillin. But if he was holding on to his tefillin, lo yahivlan, he would not give it to us. Amar, he would say, Ho'el ushonihu Rabbanan. Since Rabbanan, the rabbis permitted me to take it in, ninatran. It's going to protect me. Same exact thing. Okay, I'm going to pause here and just do a quick halakha. Okay, the two things of halakha that I want to share. Number one, can you urinate with your tefillin on? Have you done it before? Have you spoken to someone before? You've heard about someone doing it? Because you say yes very confidently. There's someone that says that they've done it before. That's why I want to know if you heard from that person. No, okay, fine. Someone you know who's learned has done it before because apparently I'm not going to say his name because I didn't ask him if I could say his name. I feel like if I asked him, he would be okay, but I'm not going to say it. Apparently there's a yeshiva in Yerushalayim, the Zilberman's yeshiva. They're wearing their tefillin all day, and these people from morning to night, they don't take off their tefillin. And apparently, the legend goes, they will urinate with their tefillin on. They don't take it off. So if they have to go to the bathroom, they go to the bathroom and they urinate with it on. But to defecate, they take it off. However, there is a huge caveat. The caveat is our bathrooms are completely different from the bathrooms that they were talking about. If you walk into this bathroom, maybe it's a little bit dirty, but there's no excrement there. There shouldn't be any excrement there. It gets flushed away. And then, on top of that, if a person goes to let's say the bathroom downstairs, where you have stalls, those stalls are walls. Guess what? We might think that it's all the same room because you could hear what's going on. That's a separate room. It's a little bit crazy to think about, but when you go downstairs in that bathroom, those stalls, they're walled off. Those are separate rooms. Why do we think it's all one room? It's not. Okay, it doesn't go up to the top, but rooms don't have to go all the way to the top. Those are separate rooms. So if a person wants to walk into the bathroom downstairs, there's in that room, technical room proper, there's nowhere to defecate. You have to go within another room of the stall, right? And so there are some that I've heard, and I've heard someone who said that they've done it because of what they did in this yeshiva. But I want to say that I'm looking at as I've been reviewing this topic, looking at halakha. I don't know how. Let's just see a halakha of Shulchan Aruch. Okay, and then I'm going to talk to you about the airport question we started with. Shulchan Aruch says as follows. It's right here. Okay. This is Siman 43. Asur likanes lebet hakiseh kabua le'ashtin b'tefillin sheberosho. A person is not allowed to enter an established bathroom with tefillin on to pee. Gzera shema yaseh b'hem seracha, because he might come to do number two. He might come to defecate. So this, remember, we saw who said this? Rava. Rava said this. This was one of the opinions. Someone tell me. Someone check, see who was. It was Rava, right? I believe it was Rava. Okay? Ve'im ochazan bi'ado. If he's holding on to it, mutar lahashtin b'hem bebet hakiseh kavua. a person is allowed to hold on to his tefillin, take it into the bathroom, and urinate. We spoke about why they would take it into the bathroom, because that was at the end, that was what was established. It was Rava? Ravina permits it, but Rava forbids it. Why? Lest you come to yeah. So that's what Shulchan Aruch holds like Rava here. Okay, so who asked me like why is the Rava saying the final call? Was that you, Tomer? Someone said why is Rava? Yeah, it was. Okay, so you see Shulchan Aruch does hold like Rava because he was one of the later Amoraim. Okay, then the Ramah says the whole thing is very interesting. How it used to be that peeing sitting down is cleaner than peeing standing up, because when you pee standing up, you have things splattering all over the place. Peeing sitting down is cleaner. So the Haggah, let me just read to you in English. The Ramah says, and this is specifically if he is urinating while sitting down, for then there's no concern for urine droplets splashing on him. But urinating while standing is obviously forbidden, for it is no better than a temporary bathroom, and the same law applies if he urinates while sitting or into a soft dirt, which produces no splashing droplets. Okay, it's the whole thing about different splashing and all this. Like, honestly, like I didn't want to go too much into this, but you can see there are other considerations. But look what Shulchan Aruch continues to say. Ubebet hakiseh aray mutar lashtin bahem kishehem berosho. If it's a temporary bathroom, meaning it's not an established bathroom, there's no feces there. Think you're in your yard, you're in your backyard, and you just want to go in the bushes, right? If you want to go in the bushes, that's not an established bathroom. Shulchan Aruch says, aray, if it's a makeshift one, mutar lashtin bahem kishehem berosho, you're a person who's allowed to urinate with the tefillin on. Aval im ochzan biado, but if he's holding on to it in his hand, asur lashtin bahem omed, you cannot urinate while they're holding it. If you're standing, even if you're putting in their clothing, because then afterwards you're going to need to use your hand to wipe yourself off, and then you have your tefillin in your hand, and you're going to use your tefillin, all of this stuff. So in that situation, take them off, give them to your friend. But if you read the Rambam, it seems like from the Rambam it's prohibited to urinate with your tefillin on your head. Period. It doesn't matter if it's established, doesn't matter if it's not. Cannot urinate with your tefillin on. And you should be concerned for the Rambam. So just a simple reading of this, it sounds like if you're going to go urinate somewhere that doesn't have feces there, it would be allowed, which is what we said, like in the bushes. And like I would argue, our bathrooms are considered like in the bushes because there's no feces there, and it's like all walled off. But then at the end, Shulchan Aruch says, but the Rambam says you're not allowed to, and you should be concerned with that. So the answer here is, according to Shulchan Aruch, you really shouldn't. Okay? I think everyone knows that if you're in the Knesset, you're in the Bet Knesset, you have to go to the bathroom, you take off your tefillin, you go to the bathroom, and when you come out, you say a new beracha. Because you see, Shulchan Aruch is telling you cannot do this. You cannot go in there, you cannot urinate with it on, you cannot defecate with it on, you cannot do any of this. Again, the question of whether you have to make a new beracha really depends on this whole discussion. Because if technically you're allowed to urinate with it on, technically when you come out, you should not make a bracha because you didn't have to take it off. You just chose to. But this is how we practice. Okay, we're speaking about fun topics. I have to say that anytime I'm somewhere and I speak about the topics of having to do number one or do number two or pass gas during tefillah with your tefillin, for some reason everyone loves it. Just everyone like starts cracking up, loving the topics. So it's not the most. We're not learning about Maaseh Bereshit here, or we're learning about Maaseh Merkava, about understanding God and belief in God. We're talking about bathroom. But again, the key here, and I just want to like wrap up with this concept, is that cleanliness, purity, cleanliness of body, cleanliness of mind is critical when a person is involved with holiness. Person is involved with tefillin, he should act in proper ways. A person should not be wearing their tefillin thinking about nonsense, doing nonsense, going to the bathroom physically, or thinking about things that belong in the bathroom. Is there should be a thought process or a mentality of Kedushah. Same with tefillin. Same with tefillah. So I think one of the things that comes away from me for all of this is you're going to pray Arvit, go to the bathroom, Richard. You go to, like you said, you go to the bathroom, make sure you're clean, you clear off all your thoughts, you try to focus. I'm doing something. Let me do it correctly. You're putting on tefillin. Do it correctly. How long does tefillin take? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is. When you're doing it, do it with focus. Do it with intention. Instead of, like how we started off, bringing a korban and not even knowing why you're doing it. Not even being aware that you're doing it. Person has his tefillin on and he's not even aware of it and he's thinking about other things and he's checking this and he's watching that. What's the point? I mean, of course, there's a point to doing the mitzvah, but a person should have intention. So Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully these Gemarot remind us to focus when we're doing mitzvot, to give it our all, to do it in the proper way, clean way. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should give us the zechut to enjoy the chagim in good health, Be'ezrat Hashem, for many years to come. Oh, I'm so sorry. Question about the bathroom. All right, here we go. Question about the bathroom at the airport. Halachapedia, quoting Rav Hershel Schachter. Okay. Bringing tefillin into a bathroom in a public area. Okay, let me zoom this in. In a place where one can't leave tefillin outside the bathroom, and also one is planning on wearing them after one comes out of the bathroom. If one is entering a bathroom, if one is entering the bathroom, even if one didn't go in to relieve himself, one should wrap them the tefillin. Okay, you gotta clean this up. Should wrap them the tefillin and hold them in one's clothing. Okay, so here this halakha, and this is how the halakha is. The first one is saying is if you're gonna go to the bathroom and you can't leave it outside, and you intend on wearing it again, and you can't leave it outside, take it, wrap it, hold it in your hand, hold it in your clothing. This is what we saw. This was what the enactment was, right? In a place where one can't leave the tefillin outside the bathroom, if one isn't going to put on the tefillin on afterwards, so now you're not going to put it on afterwards, this is like the situation where it's sunset, one should wrap them in a bag before entering the bathroom. If the bag is designated for tefillin, it is a covering as long as the pocket is at least 1 tefach. This is what we said, right? If it's designated for tefillin, it needs to have at least 1 tefach. However, if the bag isn't designated for tefillin, it is a covering even if it isn't a tefach. And I wonder if the guy's denim pocket jeans counts, because that's not a tefach, but also it's not really designated. Now that is clothing, but it's a pouch within the clothing, and the fact that his pants were tight, it like was sealed off. I really wonder if that's what it is. Yeah, well, exactly. For that guy, he became designated. If someone is in the airport and he needs to go to the bathroom, if he can leave his tefillin with another Jew, he should leave it with him outside the bathroom, sure. But if he is not, he should bring the tefillin to protect it. This is they have here quoted Rav Hershel Schachter, and this is exactly, it makes sense. Besides for the fact that all of our tefillin bags have a tefach, besides for the fact that I think Ilan Ben David said double covering. You put your tefillin in your tefillin bag, that goes within the talit bag. Sometimes that goes within another plastic, sometimes not, but that already is a double covering. So you have your tefillin bag within a talit bag, and if you have it within your luggage or your backpack, all the more so of a reason that you're allowed to take it into the bathroom with you. If you have your tefillin with you and you're in the airport, if you could leave it with someone, do it. If you can't, you're allowed to take it into the bathroom with you. Why? From all of the halachot that we learned. You can't leave it in the public. Someone's going to steal it. It doesn't even have to be double wrapped. I think the double wrap, I'm not sure where the double wrap comes from, but I believe, if I remember correctly, it comes from this distinction that if it's designated for tefillin, it doesn't count. Okay? I think the way you see that in halakha is that if it's designated for tefillin, as long as it has a tefach, it counts. But let's say it doesn't have a tefach, then it doesn't count. So I think that's where it comes from. So have a double wrap. So if you have it in your tefillin bag, even if it isn't a tefach, that doesn't count. But if you put it in another bag, double wrapper, now it counts. I think the double wrapper is just because the inner wrapper doesn't count because it's designated for tefillin. That's what I think. But I might be mistaken. If anyone knows, please let us know. Yeah.
Let's say you just leave your backpack by your chair at the gate and go to the bathroom. You're actually doing something wrong by leaving your tefillin there at home. Like you should take it out and bring it with you.
So besides for the fact that you can't leave it, but yes, why? Why is it a problem? Because they made a takana. Ovrei derachim will take it, will steal it, and then it drove someone to destroying his name. Now, I've done it before. It's happened before once that I was on a business trip, and there was some Ashkenazi guy. He had his tefillin, and I had and we were both just got off the plane, and we both when you get off the plane, you just go to the bathroom. We looked at each other, and I'm like, give me your tefillin. I held on to his tefillin. He went to the bathroom. He came out. I gave him. We didn't even have to talk about it. I just gave him my tefillin, and I went in. I came out and I took it. It's like there's some common understanding, which is like, okay, if you have someone that you could give it to, you feel like you could trust. Could the guy have been an imposter, and then I would have been all over the news, and my tefillin would have been bargained and blackmailed on the black dark web? It's possible. Maybe it was a mistake. But yeah, but you see how you have to have some sensitivity here, in the sense that taking it into the bathroom is not prohibited. We have now learned tonight probably something that many of us didn't realize. Taking it into the bathroom is not prohibited. What's prohibited is to defecate while you're wearing your tefillin. And so we take it off, assuming that there's a good alternative. But if there's no good alternative, take it off and take it with you. You can't wear it, but you should hold it onto you by your chest because you don't want it to get stolen. So yeah, if you're going to be irresponsible, like in your example, maybe there are other people that will watch it, it's fine. But if you're going to be irresponsible and you're going to say, I'm going to take a risk because I'm not allowed to take my tefillin into the bathroom, guess what? That's not correct. That's not proper. You are allowed to take your tefillin into the bathroom. We've discussed it. And if you're going to put it back on, you don't even need to put it back into the wrapper. You should put it in the wrapper, in the pouch, if you're going to put it back on. If the bag that you're putting it in is not designated for tefillin, any bag is fine. But if it's designated for tefillin, it has to be at least a tefach, which is why I think they say you should put it in a double wrapper, because even if your tefillin bag, which is designated for tefillin, doesn't count, by putting it in your backpack or putting it in your luggage, that definitely is not designated for tefillin, and then you're fine. I believe that's what the idea is. Yeah. Oh, but if you want to bring your Gemara, what should you do? I think that you just also, you put in the bag. You have your Sidur, you have your Chumash. All of that, they again, the idea is to put it in a bag within a bag, a double wrapper. Why? We should look into that topic. But yeah, we saw that the rabbis wouldn't take that in when they had an alternative. But they would take their tefillin in even when they had an alternative. They would take it in. Whereas with books, Farim, they wouldn't. So that's a good point. Your books, you should not take to the bathroom exposed. Okay, Baruch Adonai, Amen. Hazak Baruch, Chag Sameach, everyone.